The knees go first. That's what I always heard. In my case, it was actually true. See, the cruciate in this knee, meniscus in this knee, and tendinitis in both of them. Nagging injuries, really. No different than your aches and pains, right? But the implication when they say that the knees go first is that other things are going to start to go. And for me, that was just a little bit higher than my knees. I'll explain. I went through a period of years where I wasn't taking care of my health. And by the time I actually got around to seeing a doctor, I was dealing with some conditions that I couldn't handle with just diet and exercise. So I went from being this guy who takes a couple of Motrin when he's exceptionally sore to taking 7 pills every day. Well, I don't have to tell you, anytime you take a pill, there's a chance of a side effect, including sexual side effects. And that's what happened to me. So, what is the complete last thing you want to do in a situation like that? Talk about it. Yeah. What is the absolute most important thing you could do in a situation like this? Also talk about it. Now, I'm not saying you should get up in front of the whole world like this, do it the way I'm doing it. That might be an unusual choice. I'll admit that. I started with my doctor. Perhaps you should too. So I told my doctor, by the way, if your doctor doesn't want to talk about your sexual health because you're over the age of 50, get another doctor. I talked to my doctor and told her about the side effects that I was experiencing. And she said, "Are you interested in sex?" And I said, "Yes, I'm interested in sex. I'm also interested in origami. And I can't do that either." So we discussed it. And these pills that I was on, this toxic brew, the thing is that overall they were working pretty good. So the agreement that we made was that we would stick with these for a little while, give them a chance to maybe even out a little bit. So this left things up to my wife and I and our creativity. So I talked to my wife about it, and she reminded me that we'd already changed our approach to bedroom activities when she was going through menopause. Well, now see, that's wisdom. That's wisdom. Comparing my situation to her situation. Where was my wisdom? Are we always telling the young kids, let's work smarter, not harder? But finally, my wisdom came in the form of an old story. A story about 2 bulls up on a hill. 2 bulls. An old bull and a young bull. Young bull looks down into the pasture and says, "I'm going to run down there and mate with one of those cows." And he's gone. The old bull watches him go and says, "I'm going to walk down and mate with all of those cows." Wisdom. That's wisdom. What am I in such a hurry about? What are any of us in such a worry about? I'll tell you. We tend to get into a pattern, don't we? There's a step 1 and a step 2 and step 3. And even though there may be variations, our expectations don't change. But what if it's not step 1, step 2, step 3? What if it's just step 1? What if it's just step 2? What if it's 1, 2? What if it's 2, 3? What if it's 1, 3? Who cares? Who cares? For us, we had to remember that on the other side of that door was no one waiting for their dinner. There was no one waiting for help with their homework. Our time was our own. And here is your worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is you spent time in the arms of somebody you care about. Cares about you. Hopefully for a long time. Now, conversely, if it's been a long time since we got to step 3, it can happen very quickly. And then we just look at each other and we smile and say, well, hey, we're not getting paid by the hour. See, we got to have a sense of humor about it. We have to. Even though we're more skilled at many things, few of our parts work as well as they used to. So, yes, my problem was a little above my knees, but the solution was a little above my shoulders. Because your brain is the most important sexual organ. Use your creativity. Be patient. Have a sense of humor. Talk about it, and you can get through this and still feel like a complete person. You know, for me, what I had to do for myself and for my marriage was to take charge of my physical, my mental, and my sexual health. And I feel better. Even getting up here today and talking about it was cathartic. But I have to ask you, was it good for you? Thank you.